Our first topic was Election Day yesterday, and the Democratic Party came back swinging a year after suffering one of its most demoralizing defeats in U.S. political history, winning big in races up and down the ballot and across the country. Let's start with you, Mark. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to say, I know what you're going to say, because Virginia was one of the biggest races, one of the most important races. You're going to say, Virginia is a blue state, big deal, Democrats had it in the bag anyway.
So how much is Hillary playing you, Ami? No, I'm just kidding. No, look, I'm glad you know what I'm going to say. First of all, yesterday was not a electoral landslide of any sort. There were two major gubernatorial elections, New Jersey and Virginia, and a couple state house elections that went for the Democrats. This is hardly a referendum on the president. I don't think that we can. I know the media would love to make it out to be that way, as you started to do that in your opening. I think
it doesn't mean anything that Democrats won more races, or what are you trying to say, that they did win more races?
Look, if we had won those races, that would have been the headline.
Okay,
but we didn't win those races.
Would you have made a big headline if Republicans won?
Yeah.
So,
I would have.
But we shouldn't make headlines.
Because that's something I wouldn't have expected. That would have been completely counterintuitive. Okay.
All right.
The Democratic win in these particular states is not especially surprising. Look, on the other hand, we didn't win in those states. Okay, and that is something that we, the Republican leadership, needs to take into account. I mean, we've got. The big election is coming up in 2018. That one's 33 members of the Senate are going to be elected, and the entire House of Representatives.
Mark Schulman, Mark Zell doesn't think it's a big deal. The big thing is 2018, the midterms. This isn't really nothing. Not a big story.
Well, it's a big story when you start delving into the actual numbers and see what happened. Because a couple of things are very important. Number one, who ended up coming out and voting for the Democrats? And the key change was suburban white voters came back to the Democratic Party and voted against the Republicans time and time again in all the different districts. And it wasn't only in New Jersey, and it wasn't only in Virginia, it was in other state races, certain state races that haven't been Democratic in ages, in Georgia, that haven't been a Democratic since 1899 or something like that, went this time. So I think there are a lot of key factors here going on. If you look at the ages, anyone in Virginia between the ages of 18 and 29, the Democrat won by 39%. So you're talking about that as well. You look at Maine, the fact that they voted to extend Obamacare basically in Maine to Medicaid. Again, President Trump is trying to kill it. People and the voters are saying we want it some more.
Let me ask you one more thing, Mark. Before the elections, there was a big story with Donna Brazile, the former DNC chairwoman. Pretty much showed how fragmented the party is and how problematic an organization the DNC is to begin with. So maybe it's a bit too early to take out the champagne.
Oh, it's clearly too early. Look, the Democratic Party has a lot of difficulties. The Democratic Party has two main wings. It has the centrist wing, and it has the more left wing, the Sanders wing, so to speak, and the center, whether it's Clinton wing or whoever's going to inherit the Clinton wing. But what became very clear last night is it really didn't make a difference. If they worked together and they ran against President Trump, I think that's going to be what they're going to run against in 2018.